to my channel. My name is Joanna, also known as Keto in Canada, and today I'm going to give you a really quick overview of my monthly budget spreadsheet. This is a really quick and easy way to organize your personal finances or your family budget. It really kind of gives you a guideline on how to spend the money that you do have coming in. Hopefully nobody interrupts me while I'm trying to record this. This is inspired by Gail von Oxlade's original budget spreadsheet. If you know who she is, she used to have a TV show where she helped families get their finances in order. So about 14 years ago, I got a spreadsheet from her and I've modified it over the years. And since she's no longer in this business, I thought I would share this with everyone for free so that they can benefit the way that my family has. So, of course, if you find this spreadsheet to be helpful, let me know by clicking either on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. Reach out, leave me a message, tag me. I would love that. So, in order to edit this spreadsheet, you're going to have to go to File and then make a copy because it's a protected spreadsheet and you're going to have to save it to your own drive so that nobody else sees all your financial information. So here's a quick link here to take you back to my video. And again, if you have suggestions on how to improve this, just email me at ketoincanada@gmail.com. So the first section is your monthly income section. This is your income from all sources. So we have an after-tax person one. That's like whatever your paycheck is. So if you get a weekly paycheck, this is monthly information. So I don't know if you know, but like there's 26 bi-weekly payments, 52 weeks in a year. So you would have to take, if you get the same paycheck every single week, take that amount, you want to multiply it right here by 52 and then divide it by 12. That is going to give you your monthly number. We're just going to put in $4,000. Yeah. And then if you have a spouse or a live-in boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, you can add in their money as well. We'll just say it's $2,000. If you have a rental property, I don't, but if you do, sweet. Maybe you're making some income there. If not, just leave it blank. I'm married. I don't get spousal support. And I think we might get like $60 in government benefits. You should really look up this information for you personally, of course, but this is just to give you an example. Other income, you could say like through Keto in Canada, I'm getting an extra $250 a month. Yeah. Okay, so what this does is it gives you your total monthly income. This is after tax income. This is what you have coming in each month. Now what you want to do is look at your fixed monthly expenses. If you do not have one of these expenses, you can simply just enter 0. So mortgage and property taxes. Now, for me personally, I pay our mortgage and property tax every 2 weeks. So you would have to then do the same thing that you did above. If you bi-weekly is 26 payments a year, divide it by 12, and we're going to say it's $1,500 is our monthly payment because you want to make sure that you are monthly. This is not, you might pay your mortgage once a month. Perfect. Just enter in that number there. Electricity and water, you're going to have to enter that amount. I'll just enter $200 because I'm not sure. One great way to find these numbers if you don't have your bills is to go back through your online bill payments. Also, if it varies all the time, and we are saying that this is fixed, just take an average. Go 3, 4, 5, 6 months, whatever you want. Add them up. If it's 6 months, divide that number by 6, and it'll give you a good average of what to plan for when it comes to your expenses. Here, gas and water heater. I made a note here. You may own your water heater. If so, just include your gas bill. And it says average over the past 12 months. So as many months as you have record of, get an estimate. I'm just going to put 150. If you have condo fees, enter them there. I used to have condo fees. They were $180. If you don't, you should still be planning for maintenance of your home. So your roof might go one day, your kids might spill paint all over your carpet, and then you have to repair it. So it's important that you save for maintenance in the long run. And gosh, like even that could be a new barbecue or a lawnmower or all the million of things that can go wrong with your house. Home or property. So I put home or personal property insurance. We have insurance on my wedding ring, things like that. So I'm just going to put $70 there. Now, car payments. Personally, we have a couple car payments. One might be around this amount. I'm not 100% sure, but I do know I only have 5 more payments left. We have another payment. Let's say it's higher because I know Steve's car is higher. And then your insurance for both vehicles and your licensing fees. I'm just going to do this. I'm not really sure. So this is the work. You have to put in the work here to find out what is this amount? What is this amount? How much are we paying for that? Every year in Ontario, we have to pay a licensing fee to get new plates for our cars. That should be included. That's a fixed expense. That expense is not changing anytime soon. TV, I don't know my cost, but you should look yours up. It might be in a blended TV, internet, home phone combo. You can find out what that amount is on average and then just divide it into 3 and fill out the TV, home phone, internet. I'm not 100% sure what our charges are. Cell phone, I'll just put $100. So you can combine cell phones if you have more than one, or if you don't have a cell phone, you could just enter 0. It's completely up to you. Health and life insurance, we do have that. I'm just going to estimate that. And when it comes to childcare, if you have kids that are younger, your childcare cost might look something like this. That's how much you're paying for daycare for your 1 kid or your 2 kids, depending on where you live. If you are like me and we're past the daycare phase, it might look something more like this. And that $250 is to help cover, and I want to save it monthly to make sure that I have money when it comes to summer camp, or it comes to paying for PD days or spring break camps for the kids. Those costs sneak up on you. So if you expect to pay for childcare at some point during the year, you should plan for it. Other expenses, I'm not really sure. It could be something like an ATV payment or a boat or something like that, or a pool that you've been saving for, not saving for, more or less paying off. You can put it here, but really that's a debt payment. So this is more just a fixed expense. Ignore that comment. I'm not re-recording this. And so here I could say 0. I don't have any other expenses. So in total, we have $4,000 in fixed costs, but I'm only making $6,810 take home. So what that means, if you scroll down to the very bottom, it says we have $2,895 left for our variable expenses. That's for savings, debt repayment, groceries, things like that. So this is the variable expenses. Again, if you don't have an expense, enter 0. So gas and oil changes, you might put that amount. You can kind of go through your credit card or your debit or just estimate to start out what you would spend on gas and oil changes. Remember, we've got 2 vehicles. Don't forget to include all vehicles and estimate for oil changes. Vehicle repairs, they are bound to happen whether you're just buying, windshield wipers for your new car. But depending on the age of your car, it might look like $50 a month, or it might look like $400 a month if you have extensive repairs. I'm just going to put 50 for now. Medical, dental depends. Again, if you're in the States, you might have huge medical costs, or might have a $900 a month medical or dental expense. We don't here in Canada. It comes out in our taxes. So medical, dental for us might be closer to $50 a month. So as you enter in this information, you're going to see that at the bottom, it keeps subtracting. So this number is going to get lower. And I actually should kind of start this a little bit differently in when you start from the bottom up. So education funds, like, are you saving money for your kids' education, and do you want to? So we might say, well, we're going to put away $100 a month for both kids because that's all we can afford. Emergency fund. We used to save $50 a week, which ends up being $2,600 a year. I'm not sure what that is. I don't have my calculator here with me. So I'm going to say that we are saving $200 a month for emergency funds and then retirement. So what happens when you start with your savings is you're saying, where do we want to be in the future and how are we planning for ourselves? For Steve and I, like, we need to put more money away. We're getting older in terms of retirement. I'm going to put $600 there. So right now, after saying, this is what I want to save for the kids' education, this is what I want to save for an emergency fund, because you need one, I promise you. And then what are we going to save for retirement? Now you can start to look at the other things. So perhaps fill out your debt payment. I'm really happy we have no debt, luckily, but I know that most people do. So if you have a credit card debt, you could go here and actually rename this. Credit card number 1, or feel free to change these descriptions. MasterCard, and let's say you want to pay $100 a month. Maybe you only owe a $20 minimum payment and you want to do $100. Here, debt repayment, you could do boat, and that price is $235. So that's debt repayment. So if you don't have any additional debt repayment, you could hit 0 and 0 there. Now you're golden. So now you've got $1,660 left for all the rest of the stuff. So that's gas, so I'll say $200. Vehicle repairs, we've got newer vehicles, I'll say $30. Medical, dental, we're in a good shape there, I'll say $25 because we barely pay anything. Groceries, we estimate about $800. How am I? Oh, I only got $600 left. So that's not great. But it is what it is. So restaurants and eating out. Monthly, let's say we want to pay $80. If you know me, you know that is not true. Entertainment, because I have no money, is going to be $40. Subscriptions, Netflix, iTunes, I think it's about $30 a month. The dog and the cat and their food and the toys. I always put money here to save for vets too, so that's probably even higher. So if anything happens to the animals, you have money that you've been stocking away in case, kind of a pet emergency if they have a big vet bill or something like that. Also, saving for gifts. You need to decide what your limit is. If it's $50 a month, that's totally unrealistic with my family. So you've got parents to buy for and nieces and nephews or whatever. Plan ahead. Save money every month so that when Christmas comes up or their birthday comes up, you have the money there. So where are we at? Oh, I only have $195 left, which is not ideal. I don't pay any bank fees because I have a minimum balance at my bank and I don't have any expenses. So I put in 3 kids here. If you've got more, feel free to keep adding down the list. You can write your kid's name in here, my daughter, my son. This again here is, you could just write Joanna. But I'm just going to reverse that. But just feel free to customize your chart. Don't keep it saying personal spending person 1. But since I have no money, we're going to be really limited. When it comes to the kids, and this is our money for clothes, haircuts, stuff like that. And when it comes to the kids, saving for clothes, haircuts, shoes, extracurricular activities. So for Carter, if I was to save up the money, it's going to have to be a lot more than this over the year. Then when it comes to hockey, that's not even realistic. So our kids are actually, we put about $50 a week away for our kids for clothes and things like that. But I'm trying to just show you when that's going to work. So when they have music lessons or anything, it's all coming out of here. 20 just is ridiculous. So yeah, let's be realistic. It's actually this amount is what we each get. It's about $50 a week. That's why it's $216. But so what's going to happen when you scroll down is it's going to say, oh crap, you are $669 in the red. So here you need to decide, maybe I can't put so much into emergency fund right now because this cost is too much. Realistically, you would go through here and say, okay, well, we just don't get as much money for food and stuff like that, and maybe we'll shop at Goodwill, and maybe we'll get our clothes somewhere else, because these things like education savings and our retirement is important. So as you can see, you can make these changes here. These costs are not necessities. Well, okay, food is, but you could really clip some coupons and find ways to make things work. You maybe can't spend any money eating out. You can put a 0 there, or you can leave it blank, whatever you choose to do. So this is kind of where you fine tune it. See, now we're in the green. We're still saving for retirement. We're still saving for education fund, but feel free to play around with this money. Now, if you already have your emergency fund saved, you could stop if you want, because you want to go now and pay off more of the boat. Once you get certain things taken care of, or as your kids get older and they're done with school, you're obviously not going to need the money here anymore. And then you can make sure that this is now paid off to 0. And once you get those loans paid off, you can see now you have a lot of extra money. And this is, of course, all estimated income of what you have coming in. You could get a rental property and now you're making $1,000 a month. Things just change. If this number, so let me go back down here. Sorry, I'm scrolling like crazy. If this number, let's say I did want to be able to have $300 for each of us for spending, for clothes, for haircuts, for classes, whatever. And it said, well, now it says we're doing really good. But I also had to save $500 for education. I'm in the negative by $290. So your option is, beyond modifying this information, you could come up here to your fixed expenses. You could get rid of the internet, or let's not be joking. No one's getting rid of their internet. You get rid of your home phone. Yeah, no one needs their home phone. And, you could work on finding people to take care of your kids, or adjusting. Some people, once you pay that off, you might want to go and start paying more on your mortgage and then up this amount so that your mortgage is getting paid off. There aren't a lot of ways to really change your fixed costs. Maybe you just don't have TV anymore and you've got nice internet so you can watch shows online. You call your insurance broker, you get a better rate. You call your Bell or your Rogers, you get a better rate for home or internet or cable. All those ways that you can make your money go a little bit further. So yeah, at the end of the day, it says we're in the negative. Maybe we just can't afford to save that much for retirement. You want to make sure that you are in the green. If you're not in the green, it means you need to either adjust your spending or make some more money. That could be that you take a side job. So you could say, like, I work at McDonald's now 3 times a week. Ooh, I can't spell. Like I said, feel free to modify McDonald's, and at McDonald's I earn $800 a month extra. And I never see my family. But look, I'm in the green. Now that $570, really don't want to be way over. It's okay to have kind of a little bit of a buffer. But maybe now that means that this is all paid off. Now you can put $400 because you work at McDonald's to go to your vacation savings, or, whatever your side job is. I'm just going to undo this because I don't want to have these saved here. Is that everything? Oh, I'm just going to quick reset this. Okay, we're reset except for the money. So what you're going to see here as you scroll down is your personalized category breakdown. There is a number, a suggested percentage of your budget that should go towards housing, transportation, your life, debt repayment, and then savings. This chart's going to populate itself based on all the information you entered up below. So in this situation, it's saying we're paying 28% for housing. You don't want to go up to 35%. If you fill out your information and you do find that you're at 40%, what that means is you're overextended in the housing area category. Look, I found a spelling error. You're overextended in that area. It means, for you to have money for other things in your life, you shouldn't go over this amount of money. That could mean that the house you're in is just a little bit too expensive, or that you need to go out and make more money, that would reduce the overall expense. You can see here our vehicle expenses on this chart are over, but we have zero debt. So there's 15% there that, kind of can help balance this out. If you've got nothing here, you could split 5% up here, up here, up here, and then savings is 12%. So you want to just this is all going to add up to 100 because you don't have any more money. I guess if you go over, you're going to run out of money. Oh my God, my son is screaming. So, so if you have zero debt, you can save more or spend more money on vacations, things like that. And so this is just to try and keep you aware of, with the money I'm earning, where should I be in terms of costs and how am I sort of setting myself there, especially when it comes to savings. The savings is more so for your tax-free savings and or retirement. They're kind of one and the same if you're TFSA or, sorry, in the States you don't have TFSAs, but savings is more so retirement and rainy day funds. 10% is your goal. But again, you might have to work your way up there if you have debt or other things like that. So there's different ways to track your spending, and this again is just a financial plan. So you've done all the work to plan out this information of how much you're going to spend every single month on basically these items. You don't really need to look so much at your fixed expenses because those are coming out of your bank account regardless. Oh my goodness, someone's really screaming. Your variable monthly expenses are the ones that you need to track and make sure that you stay on track with that spending. There is a couple different ways that you can do it. 2 ways that I've tried in the past are the cash method of budgeting or spreadsheet tracking. So the cash method essentially is like the jars, the envelopes, I'm sure you've heard that before, where you take the cash out every single month or every single week or bi-weekly, whatever works for you, and you use that cash to pay for your variable expenses. Again, you can budget however you'd like. It just kind of depends how often you want to hit up the bank or how much money you have. If you don't have enough money to just sink a whole month's worth of budgeting into, envelopes, then you might want to do it weekly. You still would need to have a printed spreadsheet. So something like this, that's going to show you a date, a description, a withdrawal/deposit, and a balance. So if I was doing this by cash, I would write, April 15th, I deposited $50 and now I've got $50. And then the next day I bought a necklace I didn't need. It cost me $22 and now I only have $28. So whether you're doing this digitally, I would suggest if you're doing this cash, clear this out, delete this, and, put the little hash marks in there, the lines, and let's print this out and you could fill it out manually. If you're doing cash, I highly suggest to do this manually because you're going to take the money out, you're going to use it, and if you're doing the envelopes, you can actually just stuff the receipt right back in the envelope or the jar so that you know how that money, where it went, where did it disappear to. If there's nothing worse than doing cash method and all of a sudden you're missing $100 and you don't understand where that money went. So the positives to the cash method would be physically handling the money. It makes it more likely that you're not going to want to get rid of it when you see it, especially when you appreciate how hard you work for every single dollar. The spending is planned out because you can't bring the money. If you don't bring the money with you, you don't get to spend anything. The cons to that is having all that money on hand means it could get misplaced or even taken. Let's not think that everyone's bad, but things happen. What if your house gets broken into and you've got $2,000 that have been adding up? Because I'll tell you, when you're using cash, you start to see the money and you like to see it accumulate. It's very rewarding. And so, but it can be risky because it's not a safe place. Another con is having to go to the bank to get the money out. And if you forget your money at home, then you can't buy anything. So the spreadsheet method would be using spreadsheets like this to track your spending. Again, you would fill it out, except you would type it in on the computer just like I did. And this example spreadsheet here, you can duplicate it, copy it. I think you just have to like that copy to existing spreadsheet. But what you do want to do is I've set this up so that it's going to, if I delete this, it is a formula. So see the formula over here, the sum of this. So hit enter. If you pull this down, it's going to then take the new money that we put in. So any money that you're putting in is going to be positive. Any money you're taking out is going to be negative. And then it's going to, so if I even go in here and say, oh, it was actually 2277, that's going to adjust all these numbers for you. So make sure, this one, you're always just getting it down. So feel free to make a copy. You can rename these based on all the different areas of your budget. I prefer to do that because that way I've got, sort of all along the bottom here, a list of, this is Taylor's allowance, this is Carter's, this is where our vehicle expenses are at. It's just easy for me to go through them. And then, the pros to the spreadsheet method is that you can track everything digitally, which means your money stays safe in the bank. You can use your debit card or credit card to buy things as need arises, and then there's, a history of it. You can also get points for travel, cash credit on your credit cards. I'm big on that. And you can track it because you can go back and see, let's say this week, where did we spend our money? And you can kind of just like do an audit of your spreadsheets, or every 2 weeks, or however you feel like doing it. The cons of the spreadsheet method is it is out of sight, out of mind. You're not physically handling the cash, so it's easy to see it disappear, and you don't even see it go like poof. You don't have to hand over those bills, which means it's still easy to spend money. Another option is you might choose to combine the methods. So for me personally, I would never track. I would never get cash out to pay for gas, oil changes, things like that. So those expenses I would track digitally, and perhaps even groceries I would track digitally. But let's say for restaurants and personal spending, let's say just allowances, I prefer to hand out cash to my family or to my husband so that it's just really their own money and it's free for them to do what they want, and I don't have to then track it myself at that point. So what this little chart is, it's an example of the monthly/weekly, right here's monthly, this column, this one's weekly spending, from the numbers that you entered in the chart above, this chart. When you decided how much you were going to spend on all these items, it populates this chart. So it says on the vehicle, you're spending $230, weekly it's $53.08. Now, I like to see an even number here because if you're taking out cash, that's when you want to see the even number. So the way that you do that is you decide how much you want it to be. Let's say it's just $50 a week, and then you would multiply it by 52 and divide it by 12. So I'll just do it over here. The sum of this would be $50 a week instead of 53, because I just don't like saying that, times 12. And then you want to, I gotta do this, I think. Divide that. I lied. $50 a week times 52 weeks equals whatever, divided by 12 months. So that amount's going to be $216.66. So when it comes to transportation, if I go back up here, I'm just going to do this, $216.66, and we'll say 0. You could even combine that. You could just say gas, oil changes, or car expenses. So now when I look at the chart, it's going to say $50 a week. Again, with groceries, let's say I want it to be $200 a week. You would do the same thing. It's just going to be the sum of, and you can use a calculator, 200 times 52 weeks, divided by 12 months, 866.66. So if I went up here, I would just change that to 866.66. I mean, you can do this as you're going along. I put it here, right here. Tip, I prefer even weekly numbers to make things simpler. If you want it to be $40 a week, multiply it by 52 weeks, then divide it. So you can see now, because I did what I wanted, now it's $200 a week. It's easier for me to take out at the bank, to put into envelopes and things like that. This is going to show you what your weekly spending is, what your total spending money is. And essentially, this should give you a grasp on what do I have coming in. And I actually would highly recommend that you pay attention to this, because especially as a woman. A lot of women let their husbands deal with everything. I personally deal with everything. Steve doesn't even know whether we're coming or going half the time. But I think both spouses should really be tuned in to how much money do we have coming in? Realistically, what is our income? Do you even know? And then, and where does that money go? I think it makes people change their spending decisions. They're a little bit smarter with their spending when they realize the choices and the options that they have. We all have options. You have options to cut coupons and spend less on groceries and eat less. You have options to not buy nice clothes because you want to save for retirement or for your kids' school, or you want to have an emergency fund. So take ownership over that and realize that you have the ability to dig yourself out of $25,000 worth of debt, which you're not going to pay that monthly. But over time, you can fix these situations. But it's not going to happen if you just have money coming in and money going out and you have no game plan. I think I heard it described once that if you are going somewhere and you don't have a map and you're just going on a straight line, all of a sudden there's a curve in the road, and instead of turning with it, you just keep going straight and you crash your car. This is a guide. It is not an end-all be-all to how you have to spend your money, but I will tell you that as you save the money, your bank account will grow because you will be making smarter choices with your money instead of just not thinking about how you're spending. I hope that this helped you understand exactly how to do that. Obviously, the largest work is up here when it comes to finding out what are your actual expenses and what do you actually have coming in. This part's easy for me. We just get paid either weekly or bi-weekly. I can throw the numbers in. But when it comes to this, go through your banking history, find your information out, come up with an average monthly expenses. Don't forget that this is monthly. And if you have any quick questions, shoot me an email, reach out to me on Instagram at Keto in Canada or on Facebook, Keto in Canada. And I'm also on YouTube where you are watching this video. I guess you could just comment in the video down below if you have any questions. Reminder, this is all notes here, so anything in the yellow is a note, and you want this to be green, so let's just cut our retirement out again. Okay, woo, we're in the green. Yeah, I hope you find this video and this spreadsheet helpful to you. It has been extremely helpful for me as a grown adult getting my stuff together. So thank you so much for tuning in.